Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's
categorically?
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We are available on this platform, although it's heavily censored, as you know. We are also available on Rumble, Operation Freedom channel. Make sure it's the Operation Freedom channel. They've still not taken down the other Operation Freedom channels that are piggybacking off of our name illegally, might I add. Rumble, not the panacea, everybody says, by the way. Make sure the Operation Freedom channel you go to on Rumble, and they have different videos that are posted here, is the one that has our content. The other Operation Freedom channels do not. We also have a BitChute channel under Dr_Dave_Janda now, and we also have an Odyssey channel as well. But where we have all the content 24/7 is at davejanda.com. We hope you become part of our Freedom family. Join us live for the radio show every Sunday. It's free, 2 to 5 Eastern. Just go to davejanda.com, hit the listen live button, takes you to Wham Talk 1600 service, hit playing, and you're with us. Great guest, great analysis. I want to start out with a couple quotes today. Today's title of our presentation is going to be Trampling Freedom via the Great Reset Thugs. We've talked about the Great Reset for many, many months, which is the brainchild, if you want to call it that, of the deep state of the World Economic Forum and their Bond villain equivalent called Klaus Schwab, who we've spoken about for also many months. And how their real goal in the Great Reset is for them to do just fine, and you and me and every person in the world that they call useless eaters to be, well, destroyed. To just lose all that we have worked for our entire lives. That's their goal. Very simple. How special. Frank Zappa, the musician, at the bottom of our website, davejanda.com, since we started the website many years ago, I've had this quote at the bottom. It will always stay there. But I'd like to read it to you. It's very appropriate, based on what we've gone through the last 2 years, and particularly what we're going through now. Just think of Canada. Just think of Russia, Ukraine. Just think of Just think of the banksters and how they took control of our money supply since 1913. When you hear this quote. The illusion of freedom, Frank Zappa, the illusion of freedom will continue as long as it's profitable to continue the illusion. At the point where the illusion becomes too expensive to maintain, my add in here, such as when the debt becomes due, when financial markets start to implode because of the huge debt crisis, okay? Frank Zappa goes on. They will just take down the scenery. They will pull back the curtains. They will move the tables and chairs out of the way, and you will see the brick wall at the back of the theater. What moved the curtains was, so you saw the brick wall, was what happened in Canada with Trudeau and his little whatever, Christina Freeland from the World Economic Forum. What moved the curtain was what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. And let's not forget Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, who has this young leaders program that such graduates as Angela Merkel, Vladimir Putin, as he calls him. What? No, Putin's No. I played the clip on this past Sunday's radio show. Klaus Schwab from 2017 saying, "Oh yeah, Vladimir Putin, yeah, part of our group." Macron, the president of France, president of Argentina, Justin Trudeau, prime minister of... And then there's some business folks that are graduates of our program. Bezos, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, all such lovely scum. Klaus Schwab said the following, quote, "We all know but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack." Now, what are we hearing about now? Right. Which could bring about a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, and our society as a whole. Now, for you and me and every person, freedom-loving person in the world, that'd be awful. But for this cat, this is nirvana. He goes on, the crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance. Was it a small disturbance for you for the past 2 years? I don't think so, no. But for the global elite who prospered very nicely. By the way, how did Jeff Bezos do over the past 2 years financially? Oh, he did really well. How did Bill Gates do? Oh, he did really well. Maybe we should look at those that did really well over the past 2 years and realize, hey, they're part of this problem. They're not part of the answer. To use the crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons of the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our unpreparedness for a potential cyber pandemic, end quote. To usher in their great reset, where they own everything, and all of us combined own nada, nothing, zero, zilch. How do we prevent that? By outing them. By you taking information to your neighbors, friends, families, coworkers. And okay, a bunch of them might say, that's conspiracy theory. Really? Well, you said it was conspiracy theory when I told you about this 2 years ago, where it really came from and what it was really all about. And about this not being so, well, let's say safe and effective. You said that was conspiracy, and now where are we? We got insurance companies reporting things about how the huge problem that's occurring with adverse events related to this. We have funeral home companies reporting huge earnings because of an increase in deaths. That we have like organizations like the CDC and the FDA have to turn over information that shows that all the stuff I told you about before was not conspiracy theory. It might have been conspiracy, but it was reality. Yeah. The Great Reset is not conspiracy theory. They've talked about it. They put it in writing. They put it out there. They just don't, they think you're illiterate. You're not going to read it. That you're too mesmerized by their tube getting propaganda thrown at you 24/7, and like a good mushroom, you're just going to sit there and take it. No. You're going to take the information, you're going to keep networking, and no matter what people tell you, because you're telling them the truth. So here's some more truth. This is from Tom Lugano. What happened in Canada? Trampling the truckers. The Great Reset becomes the Great Awakening. There are a few words to describe the death of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's depravity. And by the way, his little henchwoman there, Chrystia Freeland from the World Economic Forum, she sits on the board of the World Economic Forum and is Deputy Prime Minister. How does that work? Yeah, it seems like a conflict of interest. Anyway. This is a person, because no real man, Trudeau, would ever govern like him, so thoroughly ill-prepared for its job, it doesn't even know how to properly read from the prepared script. It was all fun and games making Trudeau memes until this week when Trudeau's enforcers on horseback trampled an old woman. Did you see that? Peaceful. I think their words were love and happiness and freedom. And then these members, what appear to be of the RCMP, trampled her with their horses. She had a walker. And then the RCMP and the head of the Ottawa police, this Bell character fascist, and Trudeau's, they're out there saying, oh, well, somebody threw a bike at the horses. No, that was the walker that they trampled. Come on. What, they think we don't have cell phones that can take pictures of this in movies? Because a man with any sense of decency does not send men on horseback into a crowd. The only thing worse than him are the people commenting on this saying some variation of, well, she deserved it. Yeah, and there are people that said that. Peaceful protesting. These are the same people that said that the people with BLM and Antifa, when they were torching the continent, what, $2 billion worth of damage minimum? Well, that's fine. What? These were peaceful. We're peaceful. They had bouncy castles and dancing in the street, polking, and they even had lanes open where other cars could go through. It wasn't completely shut down. But Trudeau could have chosen differently as well. As opposed to acting like a scared little boy, I call him Emperor Boy, worried about facing public ridicule, he could have sacked up and met with the protesters. Imagine that. Can you imagine if early on, rather than calling them names about a fringe minority and with undesirable views, he actually sat down and talked to them? We can't do that. As a globalist, you don't do that. Just like Putin and Zelensky should have sat down, not days, weeks, months ago, but years ago, and said, okay, let's talk this out. Let's talk about neutrality issues and what's bothering you and what's bothering me. And let's handle this now before these globalist thugs get involved and have some horrible ramifications occur. They didn't do that. Why? Because they were all getting some of this stuff from the globalists. And now what do we got? Just like Trudeau. Instead, he did what all boy emperors have ever done. He chose violence and intimidation. This is Trudeau. Those who blame the victims are actually worse than Justin Trudeau. Politically, there is no going back for Justin Trudeau. He, along with his supporters, including this Freeland character, will hide behind their cope and refuse to accept the responsibility for their actions. The Great Reset, which was devised by Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, of which Trudeau and Freeland in Canada and Vladimir Putin, as he puts it, Angela Merkel, and all these other, Macron, and all these other world leaders are graduates of. The Great Reset rests on tyrants like Justin Trudeau to win through fear, intimidation, and the banal corruption of weak people to support them. With each image of peaceful people being trampled under the boot heel of Canadian stormtroopers, more people awaken from the slumber of the comfortable lie the government protects us from chaos. That's what the state is, folks. Violence. Always has been. This is why Klaus Schwab and his minions like Trudeau, Ardern in New Zealand, and others will fail. There is no law these people recognize. There is no restraint on their behavior they feel is justified for their holy cause. The sooner we accept that, like many of the truckers who organized the protest in Canada, in the United States, and in Europe, and in Australia, and in New Zealand, the sooner we can all begin bridging the divide. An independent reporter, Viva Frey, who was on the line in Canada, in Ottawa, that's what he said. Quote, I spent 12 days live streaming from Ottawa. I did not see one shred of violence until Trudeau's police showed up. Yeah. And when some members of the House of Parliament in Canada stepped up, he said, you know what? This Christina Freeland that currently sits on the board of the World Economic Forum. Trudeau, this graduate of the World Economic Forum, same like Freeland. We got some problems here, folks. World Economic Forum infiltration. Canadian member of Parliament cut off for asking and accused of asking about the World Economic Forum and people's ties to it in the government, was then accused of spreading disinformation. Of course, that's what they do. Tar and feather the messenger of truth. This from Zero Hedge. 2017 footage of World Economic Forum-led Klaus Schwab resurfaced, in which he boasts of having penetrated various governments throughout its Young Global Leaders program to help usher in their Great Reset. The clip is notable because the World Economic Forum, known best for its annual gatherings at the global elite in Davos, have been openly pushing for digital IDs and passports. While leaders of said governments continue to impose Orwellian mandates, which have resulted in widespread protests for freedom and medical freedom. Klaus Schwab bragged about having penetrated cabinets of world governments. He wrote in a June 2020 publication titled Now is the Time for a Great Reset, how the pandemic presented a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world to create a healthier, more equitable, more prosperous future, end quote. And so, given the world economics infiltration, people have begun asking questions over the group's influence in current events. When Canadian Member of Parliament Colin Carey brought this up about their concern about World Economic Forum people, Freeland, Trudeau, members of their cabinet, many others in their government that had loyalties to the World Economic Forum and the globalists, not to the people of Canada. Well, Member of Parliament Kerry was cut off when asking about the influence of the World Economic Forum in domestic politics. Quote, Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum and bragged about how his World Economic Forum has infiltrated governments around the world, end quote, asked Kerry, who was then cut off when he asked which ministers were behind the World Economic Forum agenda. With the speaker saying the sound had become very poor, of course, very poor, can't hear you, cut you off. And then another member of Parliament accused Kerry of, quote, disinformation. No, it was just the truth. You see, these globalists, and it just hasn't occurred, it's occurred over a number of many years' times, have infiltrated every government of the world. And now they are just implementing what Schwab taught them about how to institute the Great Reset, which benefits no freedom-loving person of the world. So how do we counteract this? We shine the light of truth on these cockroaches and what they're up to. They can't stand the heat because when they get heat, they cut and they run. And just look at Trudeau. You see, when people said, wait a minute, if you're going to do this to truckers, we're going to pull our money out of banks. It created a huge bank run. And then the bankers and the people that have significant influences in the Canadian banking community, read that as China, came to Trudeau and Freeland and said, what are you doing? You're killing us with what you're doing here. They're taking their money out. We're going to become insolvent. And you are going to pull this back in. So after touting this and getting it through the House in Canada, this Emergencies Power Act that essentially froze people's accounts and essentially instituted martial law throughout Canada, all of a sudden, within 48 hours later, he goes, just kidding, we're done. What? Right. Because people stepped up. And they said, you know what? I don't trust you with my money. I'm out of here. And the people made that Emergency Powers Act go to the wayside. That doesn't mean we stop. The people of Canada have to push to get those mandates to go. But let that serve an important lesson. The people, led by the truckers, won the day, won the battle, won that war. Because they didn't sit on their couch, they acted. The only thing and the best thing they could have done was pull their money out of those banks, and that's exactly what the Canadians did. And it shut down the globalists. It shut down their food and money supply. And that's what each and every one of us need to do. We need to look at our lives, and we need to separate ourselves from the globalist syndicate in everything we do, how we do business, what we do business with. Do a business with a local bank rather than one of the big ones. Just an example. Support small businesses. In so doing, you're thumbing your nose at the globalist syndicate and Klaus Schwab and his great reset. For that reset to be pulled off, they need each and every one of us to be sitting on the couch. If we're not sitting on the couch, he has no chance of pulling it off. And none of his little scum puppets can pull it off. Remember Canada. I thank you for your time. Join us 24/7 at davejanda.com with extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis, tremendous amount of free content. And we hope you'll become a subscriber to our platform where we go in great depth and put you months, if not years, ahead of the curve. $9 a month. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, get rid of it, but I'm not sure why. Because the information you get, you'll never see, hear, read, or experience through the bought-off lamestream media, and it puts you so far ahead of the curve that it makes you less of a target with these globalist slime. Thank you for your time today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.